Welcome, Command R. This test scenario involves a Startopia base orbiting the planet Cerberus 42. The galactic database describes it so: the Cerberus system was used by the Interplanetary Republic as a centralized repository for unpopular subjects, such as criminals and whistleblowers. The crime rate here is 99% with a 1% margin of error. Commander, after valuable resources were found on the planet Cerberus 42, the Interplanetary Republic has graciously shown mercy and now wants to get the criminals off the planet. The residents are being brought on board Startopia for short-term rehabilitation. You will therefore inevitably have to make use of security stations and a brig. Moreover, the station is autonomous in this test scenario. You will have to use prestige and energy to research the necessary technologies yourself. Good luck, Commander, or as the residents of Cerberus 42 would say, hands up.
Initiate welcome protocol.
Welcome to the simulated orbit of Cerberus 42, Commander. This test scenario has some very exciting situations in store for you. My evaluation processor can hardly wait to log your failure. Make sure you are familiar with the latest advances in technology to gain access to the security station and the brig as soon as possible. Only then can you devote yourself to the real goal. To give you a little jump start, you already have some initial prestige as well as a few room crates. Command R, commence operations. Seeing as how you completed the last test in an acceptable time, I calculate a 67.3% probability that you will successfully complete this scenario. Commander, seeing as you didn't fail completely in the previous scenario with the HEDs, it seems that according to the ridiculous RFS statutes you are entitled to some sort of reward. Commander, I want to congratulate you. You've actually managed to unlock some new technology. Of course, the task itself was trivial, but actually, I have nothing more to add. Commander, organic life forms possess what is colloquially called a sense of aesthetics. Curiously enough, when they see beautiful things, they actually take pleasure from them. Even though they do absolutely nothing for me, I would recommend you get a few of these decorative objects to improve the generally low opinion of your station. Commander, I noticed that you have installed some of those deco objects. Visitors spending any time near them will probably view this positively. I will note this in the Positive Deeds section of your personnel file. After all, there is still plenty of room there. Commander, your use of technology has enabled you to reach the highest visitor category for this scenario. Now, if you can still manage to unlock the security station and brig, we can finally move on to the real goal of the scenario. I hope your carbon-based data processing center can follow me so far. Commander, you should make every effort to gather enough prestige for the security station and the brig. Then you can finally start rehabilitating the offenders. Commander, your security station is now operational. The Leviathans working here are responsible for controlling highly efficient drones that look for criminals and bring them to the brig upon identification. According to recent surveys, visitors find Startopia quite acceptable overall. A diabetic choice, Commander. Commander, the first drone is now leaving the security station and setting out to find criminal elements among the visitors. According to the normal test parameters, you should have reached this point in half the time, but since there is no time pressure in this scenario, I believe that your activities are sufficient. A splendid idea to build a second security station, Commander. It will double the number of drones at your disposal. I admit I didn't expect this level of foresight from a carbon-based life form. Commander, more than 20 criminal activities have now been reported aboard. My optimism subroutine crashed when it was asked if you could handle the problem. Commander, with the construction of the brig, resocialization of the criminals can finally begin. As soon as they recognize a criminal, your drones will bring them to the brig. Of course, you can also have visitors locked up yourself, so to say, as a preventive measure. I'm not sure what effect this will have on your station's rating, but I personally can only applaud the decision to incarcerate carbon-based life forms. Commander, you should be seeing some results shortly, and your drones should start escorting criminals to the brig. Of course, you're free to detain any visitor you want if you see anything suspicious, such as perhaps one of those Telgor roaming the subdeck. They look very suspicious to me. So you want secure prisons? Interesting choice, Commander. Commander, you have successfully rehabilitated your first criminal and turned them into another more or less valuable member of the useless carbon-based life form society. A first step towards successfully completing this test scenario. One of your visitors has died. There is fighting aboard Startopia. Commander, criminals are planning to break out of the brig and have placed bombs nearby. I suppose it would be appropriate for you to respond promptly. Commander, my sensors have detected a criminal who has just left the station after robbing countless aliens. That's exactly the kind of subject you're supposed to stop and rehabilitate. Commander, you've already rehabilitated a third of the criminals required. Personally, I would rather eject them into space through the nearest airlock, but I admit that my evaluation function suggests this as the best possible option for all carbon-based life forms. Very well, Commander, I'll initiate maintenance. Commander, you've already rehabilitated more than half the criminals we need. I'm not sure that these creatures can actually become part of a productive society, but in the end, this scenario is just a simulation. Commander, more than 50 visitors have been robbed to date. I know that as a carbon-based life form, you're somewhat used to failure, but I still hope you'll get your act together. Commander, my sensors indicate that someone has placed bombs on your base. Commander, you've already rehabilitated 2/3 of the criminals required. I could almost believe that you are beginning to understand how this scenario works. An employee has just quit. Commander, you did it. Commander, you did it. Thanks to the use of your drones, that criminal rabble has been rounded up and put through rehabilitation. They won't dare harm Startopia in the future.